A woman who accused a powerful politician of abuse is speaking out in her first TV interview. Manning Barish dated former New York Attorney General Eric Schneiderman for more than a year until 2015. She shared her story with The New Yorker in May, saying, quote, "All of a sudden, he just slapped me open-handed and with great force across the face." She went on to say, "He began to choke me." Schneiderman resigned 3 hours after that story was published. And last week, a prosecutor announced that Schneiderman will not face criminal charges after multiple women came forward. The Nassau County District Attorney said in a statement that she believes the accusers, but could not pursue criminal charges because of, quote, legal impediments. Schneiderman said in a statement, quote, "I accept full responsibility for my conduct in my relationships with my accusers and for the impact it had on them." Manning Barish is here in her first television interview. Good morning, and thank you for being here.
Good morning, Norah. Thank you for having me.
I can only imagine how hard it was to speak out in the beginning to describe this abuse. What led you to share what happened to you?
Well, I never was going to share my story. I was never going to talk about it. I didn't even think I had a Me Too story, to be honest with you, until I saw Rob Porter's wife, and she had that black eye.
This is the White House secretary who
That's right. And then I struggled with feeling like a hypocrite. There were so many women who were coming out and speaking and telling their stories, and I was encouraging them to do this. And I had a story and I hadn't said anything, but I had decided that I didn't want to ruin my life and I wasn't going to say anything. And I just was going to leave it at that until Jane Mayer from The New Yorker reached out to me and said, "We'd like to talk to you about Eric Schneiderman." And I knew exactly why she was calling. And when she told me that there were 2 other women who were about to go on record and they had been hurt, and one of them had sustained hearing loss, my knees just sort of buckled, and I knew that I had 3 choices. I could either remain silent, or I could lie or speak up and tell the truth.
What's extraordinary about this story, too, it's different than the others, is that this powerful rising star in the Democratic Party, who was a champion of women's rights, has also now essentially admitted that he did something wrong. And he said in a statement, "After spending time in a rehab facility, I am committed to a lifelong path of recovery and making amends to those I have harmed. I apologize for any and all pain that I have caused." Has he personally apologized to you?
He has not. He has not personally apologized to me.
And what do you think of him saying that he accepts responsibility for his actions?
Well, I appreciate that he has made a blanket statement with an apology. I hope that it is sincere. The reason why I'm here today is not to drag Eric through the dirt or to drag this story on any longer than it needs to go. I knew going in that I wouldn't have personal justice in this because my statute of limitations was up. I went into it just to support the other women and to make sure that they had a stronger case in case they wanted to pursue it. So if he is genuinely sincere about what he's saying, he's still sitting on, he raised $11 million. We thought it was 8.5. We actually looked it up, my lawyer did. It's over $11 million that he raised. And he's spent 2.6 of it so far on his own expenses. So the National Organization for Women had asked him to donate the rest of what was left in his campaign fund to help women across the state of New York with shelters, programs. There's so much that we can do with that money. And he did not respond. He's been asked again, and he has not responded. So
you want that money to go to causes that help women who've suffered abuse?
I do. And we're not talking about $20,000 here. We're talking about $9 million. That can change a lot of lives. That can change the lives of hundreds of thousands of women. It can help men. It can help all sorts of people who are suffering through this.
And the former Attorney General, though, his campaign has said that they are honoring their commitments that they have and that they are going to donate any remaining funds to worthy causes. Is there any reason to believe that he won't do this, that he won't donate that money?
I see that a lot of money has been spent. I'm concerned at how much more of it is going to be spent. And also, worthy causes is a pretty general statement. I think that what he did was he assaulted women. He's admitted to this. I was one of them. And I think a worthy cause and a great step towards healing for all of us is to donate it directly to where he caused that harm, you know, and not just some organization that he happens to be very fond of, you know.
It's an important conversation, sharing your story, but also trying to find some good out of this and to help other people who may have suffered the same thing. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Norah.